Hey guys, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I'm so happy to have you here. If I don't seem like myself today, it's because I'm not. Yesterday was a bad day. I didn't do any videos. Today's not a lot better. If the lighting seems weird, I had to turn it down because I'm having an extreme migraine. Like, I have medicine that normally makes it go away rather quickly, and it's just not working today. So the light really bothers my eyes, so I had to change the brightness and tilt it up rather than have it tilted down. So if it looks weird, I'm sorry. If I look drained and my hair's crazy, because I am drained and my hair is crazy. It's like 100 degrees here today. So the dogs are inside, so they may be making unwelcome appearances. Steve is watching football, but it's not the game that we wanted to watch, so he's been hollering. So I don't know what you might hear, but let's dive into, did anybody ever really know what was going on in Kiely's case? Do we even know now what really happened? Will we ever know what happened? I kind of have been going back to the beginning like everybody else and looking through interviews and just listening to other people's thoughts on things, reading your comments and kind of thinking about things that you've brought up and things that you've said. And I just want to kind of take a look at things that don't necessarily add up. Just how things changed, just it seemed like every day it was this and then it was that, and just kind of go over some of that stuff. First, I would like to talk about my favorite commenter AF. The video that you guys overwhelmingly responded to, that we went over all of her comments, she has yet to comment on that video. But if you notice, the same day that I put that video out, I put a blooper video out because I had tried to record that video prior and the dogs were just having none of it. So I put together kind of a little, 5-6 minute blooper reel of what was going on behind the scenes, and she did comment on that. And this is what she said. She said, even your dogs realize that you are slandering Sammy with preposterous allegations. So far, that is all she has had to say after we went through her comments. And in your comments, we were all speculating. Is it Sammy? Is it her mom? Is it a relative of Sammy's, a close friend of the family? Somebody that's got an interest in covering for her? Those kind of things. And I don't know, maybe we scared AF off. Maybe we're on the right track, and that's why she hasn't blessed me with her presence very much. But I just thought this was really funny that she didn't comment on that video, but I bet she watched it, and I bet she read through the comments. But she did comment on the blooper video and thinks that even my dogs know I'm so wrong about Saint Sammy. So I wanted to share that with you. And then there's been a lot of people talking. Kiely had Life 360 on her phone. If you don't know, it's an app that can track your location through your cell phone. We have it on our phones. Our family does. And somebody was talking about, the last time her phone pinged, and, the police were like, well, there could be, all these different reasons why data points were lost and yada yada. And they were talking about maybe she lost her cell signal but had connected to Wi-Fi somehow, like a hotspot, or somebody had Wi-Fi in their car, and maybe when she made that 1236 call to Sammy, she was on Wi-Fi versus cellular service. So I kind of wanted to show you, in case you don't have it or you're not familiar with it. When I pull up my Life 360, I get this. It shows where we're all at and how long we've been there. And you can see, like, my daughter at this time had 86% battery, and my husband had 80% battery, and they're on cellular, but they have their Wi-Fi turned on. Now I'm going to explain that as we go. So on Life 360, when you're using it, they recommend that you put your Wi-Fi on, even if you're not using Wi-Fi. Like when we're driving somewhere, and obviously we don't have Wi-Fi, right? It still wants you to have the Wi-Fi on because somehow that improves the accuracy of your location. And there are times that, we might drop cell signal, but if we have the Wi-Fi on, I can still see where they're at. So here, let me show you a little bit. I did an experiment with my husband. He's been gone all weekend playing military. Okay, so this is when I click on specifically for my husband. You can see that he has been there since yesterday morning at 5:41 a.m. He's 61 miles away from me. Now, right now, what you're looking at, he has his Wi-Fi on. So I called him and I'm like, turn your Wi-Fi off. And of course, he's like, what? Why? He just humors me. So he turns his Wi-Fi off, and we've got all the same information, the time he was there, how far away, whatever. And you see up there in the red, it says improve Robert's location accuracy. So if you click on that, this comes up and it says Wi-Fi off. So now I know his Wi-Fi is off. Robert's Wi-Fi is turned off. For more accurate location information, please ask Robert to turn our phone's Wi-Fi settings to on. This improves their accuracy even when not connected to a network. And then if you click the little purple button, remind Robert, it will send him a text and be like, hey, turn on your Wi-Fi. And I have done this because there was a time when he was driving home, and a lot of times I use this to see, like, how far is he, so I know. I like to have dinner ready when my husband comes home. I guess that's kind of old-fashioned, but it's important to me. So sometimes I will look and see, like, okay, where is he at? So I have kind of an idea, okay, it's going to be this much longer, so I need to start cooking now. And I had checked his location, and then I checked it again, and it basically was showing like he hadn't moved, or it couldn't update his location. And so I was kind of worried, and I called him and I'm like, is everything okay? Like, are you stuck? Like, is there a wreck? Did you have a wreck? Is everything okay? And he's like, no, I'm fine. He's like, I don't know why it's not updating. And I looked, and all he needed to do was turn on his Wi-Fi, and then it showed he was moving again. So I just kind of wanted to show you how it works. It wants you to have your Wi-Fi on. So if she lost cellular signal and she did switch to Wi-Fi to use her Wi-Fi, her location accuracy would have been even better. So we just kind of leave Wi-Fi on our phones all the time. Okay. So now to get into some of the oddities, I guess. So you remember when this poster came out, and it was, everywhere, right? The press conference they had, Angela Musalem or however you pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. The uh, PIO for Placer County. She had the picture of the CRV up on a board and was saying, "This is Kiely's CRV." And somebody had asked the question, when was this photo taken, or something to that effect, and she was just kind of, in the winter. Well, yeah, because there's snow on it, but she didn't really have an answer. Well, come to find out, that's not Kiely's car. That's not the car they pulled out of the water. Apparently, this picture is actually a 2017 CRV. This is actually Kiely's car. So you can see the differences, like the back window, the very back looks a little bigger and it's tinted, and in Kiely's it's a little smaller and it's not tinted. The trim around Kiely's is silver, and on the one above, the trim around the windows is black. The door handles are different. There's a lot of little differences. So I find it odd that they put out a picture saying, this is her car, and it's not even the right year car. So I don't know where they got that picture from, who told them that that was Kiely's car taken in the winter or whatever, but it wasn't. And then we all know, the size of the party changed a lot. So originally, they came out and they were like, yeah, it was a big party. There was about 100 people there. So this said, sheriff's officials initially said more than 100 teens and young adults were at Friday night's party at Prosser Family Campground. Musalem on Tuesday upped that estimate to somewhere between 200 and 300 people, and she called on anyone who was at that party and who may have information about Kiely to contact the tip line. So they went from 100 to 200 to 300. And then I'm pretty sure in Adventures with Purpose video, they said that they thought there could have been like 400 people there. And I don't know. I don't feel like it was that big. Not in the area. Like if you look at the area, it would have been so packed. Everybody would have been so jam-packed in. Now, yeah, they could have been spread out in multiple locations perhaps. But the thing that bothers me, I think, the most about a party of that size is, how do you get that many people to be quiet? And if there's people there and they're from out of the area, what do they have to hide? Like if you're from San Francisco or wherever they were saying, the Bay Area, they have no reason to be quiet and not post about the party, but there were no pictures, no videos. People were scouring, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all the social medias, TikTok, trying to find videos and pictures and evidence of this party happening at all. Now, I think there probably was a party. I just don't think it was that big. And I find it hard to believe that people weren't posting about it. And that's the reason why I just question the number of people that were there. I feel like if there were that many people there, we would have seen more videos and pictures and things posted on social media. You can let me know what you think. So initially it says, since August 9th, law enforcement has received over 200 tips from the public. The disappearance of Kiely Rodni continues, but it is not being labeled as an abduction since no one saw Kiely leave the party and there were no signs of force or trauma. So, for one, as far as I know, they never have and are still looking for someone to say they saw Kiely leave the party. That was always their big thing. We can't find anybody that can confirm seeing her leaving the party. And what do they mean, no signs of force or trauma? Like, what are you looking for? Were you looking for blood on the ground somewhere? Well, if they're having friendly fights, there might have been blood on the ground somewhere. And force, if you have a large party and there's all these people there, like, where would you even begin to look for this? But then, so now, not an abduction. And then just a few days later, they come out and they say, we're treating her disappearance as an abduction right now because we have not been able to locate her vehicle. And this is the PIO, Angela Musalem, again. So within just a couple of days, they went from it's not an abduction because no one saw her leave the party, and her car's missing at that time too, but now we're going to treat it as an abduction because we can't find her vehicle. What changed in those few days to make you think it wasn't an abduction? It was an abduction. Like, what happened in those 2 days? Well, I know one thing that happened in that same time span was Sammy Smith was running her mouth, and she's pushing the narrative of Sammy Smith, a friend who attended the party with Kiely, told CBS, I know that she wasn't in the right mindset or state to drive, and if she were to have driven, she wouldn't have made it far. So my concern is that somebody might have offered to drive her home and then didn't take her home. So Sammy starts pushing her abduction narrative, her somebody else, excuse me, I'm sorry, somebody else is involved. The whole idea of abduction, it kind of creates distance, right? Like, we don't need to look right here. We need to look elsewhere because she was abducted. She was taken away. And I feel like that's why that narrative was really being pushed by the friends was, you know, like Jagger and Kate were going to Reno to look and things like that. Like, you know, if she was abducted, she would not be in that Prosser area when in fact she actually was. Then Angela Musalem again said that she believes the tight-lipped kids might know where Kiely went after the party. The 16-year-old hasn't been seen since, and authorities still can't find the silver Honda CRV she drove to the get-together. Now, where the heck did that come from? How come all of a sudden now we think Kiely went somewhere else after the party? Is this because this is when Jagger and Kate started saying, like, oh, we used to hang out here in Reno and things like that? Why? You know, and we didn't hear this a lot because when I saw this, I was like, they never really touched on that a whole lot. It was not an abduction. Mostly it was an abduction. And, you know, they would tell us that the Prossers, like, we're treating it as an abduction because we can't find her car. And if we classify it as an abduction, we can use more resources in our effort to find her. So the not an abduction wasn't the narrative for very long. Abduction really drove the story. That was it for most of while they were searching. But then this, you know, they might have known where Kiely went after the party. Well, where the heck did that come from? Why all of a sudden are you thinking she went somewhere else? I get it. Like, you can't find the car. If she left in her car and she didn't go home, where did she go? But it didn't seem like they really explored that avenue very much. So I just thought it was odd, and I thought I would throw it in here because this is kind of, like I said, just an oddity type video. Like, did anybody know what was going on? You know, are we just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks kind of thing? You know, did law enforcement ever know what was going on? Do we know what was going on? Like, the stuff that we're being fed, when you go back and look at it, it doesn't make sense. And at the time, a lot of it didn't make sense, but we all just kind of went along for the ride, right? So then law enforcement came out at one of the Prossers saying, this was on August 14th, the Placer County Sheriff's Office said between 200 and 300 people were at the party on August 6th. A video from earlier in the evening of the party shows Rodni in a white and pink sweatshirt, but they are unsure if she was wearing it when she was last seen. And that's when they showed us the picture of the Odd Future hoodie. So You remember we saw the picture of Kiely on surveillance at a business in Truckee. And they showed us that so we could see how she was dressed. But they didn't even give us a still shot of this alleged video from the party showing Kiely wearing that hoodie. So, I mean, if we trust law enforcement, then I guess there's a video showing Kiely at this party with the white and pink sweatshirt, but they never produced that for us to see. And on top of that, got to go back to my girl Saint Sammy. You know, when she gives interviews, even after this, she never went back and said, oh yeah, she had on, they showed us the Lana Del Rey hoodie first, and then they came out like the next day or 2 days later with the Odd Future hoodie. But Sammy always stuck to the surveillance picture. Yeah, that top is exactly what I saw her in. Black bodysuit. Peed in the woods a couple times. Pants were different. She was wearing green Dickies pants. Black belt. Yes, she took it off when going to the bathroom. She never mentions a hoodie. Not one time have I been able to find an interview with Sammy where she mentions either one of the hoodies. And in the surveillance video, you know, color's not always great in those videos. And to me, it looks like green Dickies pants, but she, you know, had to make a point of saying, no, the pants were different because they were green Dickies pants. She's so specific, you know, not just like green pants. No, they were green Dickies pants. And then about the belt, and it was a bodysuit. But she forgets the detail about the hoodie. And remember, she had said they were together all night. So when Kiely had put that hoodie on, which was probably towards the end of the party because it would have been getting cooler, Sammy never said, oh yeah, you know, but before I left she had on this hoodie. And even after it came out, you didn't see anywhere that Sammy went out and said, oh, you know what, you're right, I forgot she did have that hoodie on. It never happened. And I heard yesterday, and it's really disturbing when you couple it with other things that have happened. If you remember early on, there were quite a few things that were like being seen and being found, and then it was like, nope, doesn't have nothing to do with anything. Do you remember somebody found a black tank top out near, I think it was Boca, and they called it in, and they have come out and said that the police were not interested in coming out there to collect it. And at that time, you know, we were told to be looking for these items because it could lead to Kiely, right? So they actually collected it themselves, you know, put it in a plastic bag or whatever, and took it to law enforcement because law enforcement couldn't be bothered to come out there and collect what could have been potential evidence in Kiely Rodni's disappearance. You couple that with they flipped the car without sealing the windows and let all of her stuff fall out, didn't go back to retrieve it, and then Check It TV goes out there to retrieve it, and once again, law enforcement has no interest in coming out there and getting it. So after hours and hours of people calling them, they finally come out there, and they do take some of her things, and they say they're going to send divers out there to get the rest, and they don't. Why aren't they interested in this stuff? You're telling us, the public, look for this and do that, but you're not doing it yourself. It's weird. So then I found an article. This parent, I guess her kids went to the same school as Kiely. I'm probably going to mispronounce this name, but it says Petrucci's kids all went to Forest Charter School, from which Kiely recently graduated. And their annual graduation party near Prosser Family Campground is a time-honored tradition. Every year they have that party, Petrucci said. My daughter graduated last year, and she did it. Kids from other towns nearby come to the party. They get together and have a good time before going off to college. one thing, I get hung up on words, right? And phrasing. My daughter graduated last year and she did it. Not, and she went to it or she attended it or what. She did it. Did what? Does something happen at this party, this time honored tradition? It's like, it sounds like it's a rite of passage almost, right? So saying she did it, it's like, what, she went there and did whatever you do and she survived. So I don't know. I just, the interview just struck me odd. You'll have to let me know what you think. And remember, haven't been feeling good, so my brain may be processing things completely wrong. But another thing is, it's an annual thing, it happens every year, blah, blah, blah. So there's no way that law enforcement doesn't know about this party. And apparently, there's parties out there all the time. And whoever takes care of the campground, I don't know, park rangers or whatever they have that take care of that area, they have to know this is going on, right? Do they not go out there to check on things, to make sure that things are above board, that, do they just turn a blind eye to it? When they were saying, if you come forward, you're not going to get in trouble. We know there was drinking. We know there was drugs, and that's not what we're interested in. We just want to find Kiely. Was that just during the investigation, or do they turn a blind eye to this kind of thing all the time? Are they just like, yeah, they're going to have this party and, whatever. We're just, we're going to pretend like we don't know that's going on over here. I don't know. I have questions about law enforcement in that area. A lot of questions. And then we've got Jagger. And here, I hadn't shown this picture yet. This is Jagger at Kiely's celebration for life. Apparently, he didn't get there right away. I know that day, Kiely's dad had been out at Prosser at the water, and he showed up late as well. He came kind of towards the end. He was sort of at the back, and there was one picture of him and Jagger standing next to each other. And then this picture, you can see Jagger and then the big fluffy dog that's basically the same kind of dog as my girl Shiloh, Great Pyrenees. That's Doc, and that is Kiely's dog. So we're going to talk about Jagger now. So he says in this interview, that same day, her boyfriend Jagger Westfall revealed he told his girlfriend to be safe right before she disappeared, local media reported. He said, okay, be safe. Don't, do anything stupid, he said to her in a text before she left the party. Before she left the party? No. So let me finish going through this and we'll go back. Westfall said he sent a follow-up message complaining about his day, and Kiely sent her final text to him a few hours later. At 10:30 p.m., she responded to what I was saying and just said, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through that," Westfall said. And that was the last time I heard from her. So the okay, be safe, don't do anything stupid couldn't have been right before she left the party. Because the follow-up text when she responded was at 10:30 p.m. And according to Sammy, Kiely and Mags only just got to the party at 10ish. And we know they were charging their phones at 11 or whatever. So maybe they misquoted this and he was saying that he said that to her in a text before she left for the party. But he definitely didn't say that before she left the party. Unless he slipped up and thought she was leaving the party then. I don't know. But I found that kind of odd. Um, and then this. So this came out, and I was like, whoa, wait, what? So this says on Wednesday, Kiely's boyfriend Jagger Westfall told Fox 46 that he attended the same party as Kiely, which was intended to be a senior farewell party. Jagger said he told Kiely to be safe before they parted ways for the night. What? So, and we're going to get to Sammy's famous interview with All American Dream Chasers at the kind of towards the end. But she kind of set up Jagger's alibi. She was like, nope, he wasn't there. He was 4 hours away in Napa with his dad. And at one point we heard, yeah, he was with his dad. They were fishing. And then at some point on social media, Jagger had responded to somebody like, no, I wasn't at the party with Kiely. I was at my own party 4 hours away. But apparently he told Fox 46 he was at the same party as Kiely and told her to be safe before they parted ways. That's a big one, guys. That's a big one. That's another, do we know anything? What are we to believe? For starters, I, in one of my previous videos, showed you that if he was in Napa, it is not 4 hours away. It's more like 2.5. 3 if you're going slow, I guess. Not 4. Sammy's the one that put the alibi in place that, nope, he wasn't there. He was with his dad in Napa. And then we hear, yeah, he was fishing with his dad in Napa. And then he's like, oh no, I was at my own little party 4 hours away. So maybe he's at some party 4 hours away. But he slips up and tells Fox 46 that he was at the same party with Kiely and told her to be safe before they parted ways for the night. That's more than just a slip up or like a misquote. Instead of saying before she left the party and they meant to say before she left for the party. That's a big one. And you can look it up. Fox 46. There's an interview. I think Evil Exists on YouTube has a really short clip of it. And I've wondered if Jagger was there and if Kate was there. And now I really wonder, was Jagger there? And while we're on that, I'm sure you guys have heard, if you're following this on YouTube, that somebody had messaged Zav Girl that they had been messaging with Kate, I believe through Snapchat. Yes, it was Snapchat. And they had kind of become friends, and they had flirted back and forth and what have you. And apparently Kate had sent them a picture, and she was in bed, and you see Jagger at the end of the bed, and he's getting dressed, and she said, "Great night." And they were like, whoa, WTF, is that Jagger? And she's like, yeah. And they said, are you guys sleeping together? She's like, yeah, we do it all the time. Okay. But then, and that's the day or the night before Kiely was found. So then, was it Evil Exists? Maybe. I don't know. So many channels, you guys. I'm getting them confused. They messaged Kate on Instagram and were like, hey, this person is saying that you and Jagger were sleeping together, blah, blah, blah. And she wanted to see the Snapchat photo that this person was talking to Zav about. Well, they didn't have a Snapchat photo. So if you don't know about Snapchat, like, you look at it, it disappears, and if you screenshot it, it'll tell the person that sent you, like, one time my son sent me pictures when he had graduated from one of his military schools, and I really liked one of the pictures, and I screenshotted it, and then he messages me back like, hey, why are you saving these pictures on Snapchat? So it lets the person that sent it know that you screenshotted their photo. So they didn't screenshot it, they didn't think to screenshot it. And so Kate really wanted to see the photo, but then when she knew that said photo is not actually out there, I guess she went and listened to Zav Girl and messaged them back and said, oh no, it's all bullshit. Never happened. So it's kind of interesting because at first I was like, well, this person that messaged Zav Girl, I mean, they could be making it all up, right? But then you kind of wonder, okay, if they had the picture, what would Kate's reaction have been then? Because she really wanted to see the picture, and then as soon as she knew like there wasn't a picture, she was just like, oh yeah, it's all bullshit. So it sounds like, 'cause, you know, we had heard that Jagger had dated Sammy, so it sounds like he may have been involved with other girls around Kiely. I don't know how long him and Kiely were together, but, you know, is there some sort of animosity? Like, was he doing this behind her back and she found out? Is that why they broke up? I know the story is they broke up because he moved away. But, you know, he goes out there almost daily professing his love for Kiely. And if he's sleeping with these other girls, but claiming to be in love with Kiely, that's bound to bruise some egos and somebody that thinks very highly of themselves, such as, I don't know, Sammy. So it's just another one of those things to file away and think about. You know, and then there's the whole Nate situation. You know, there could have been friction between Sammy and Kiely over that guy. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot. All right, so moving along. So the same day that law enforcement officials indicated that they would be scaling back the search resources, that's when Adventures with Purpose announced that it was going to head to California to join in looking for Kiely. It's just kind of a picture of Doug and the car, where she was found, what was broken, whatever. Now, at the same time, that's when St. Sammy took off and left the state. You know, St. Sammy, who was so dedicated to keep searching until Kiely was found, you would think when they announced that they're scaling back the search, she would have upped her efforts, right? Like, oh my God, you know, law enforcement isn't going to be doing as much, but we still haven't found her. We've got to get out there and find her, really rally the troops and get all those amazing teens out there looking even more, right? No, she leaves the state. So Doug and them come in. The police are like, nope, you don't need to look at Prosser. We've gone over it. We searched it thoroughly. She's not there. But they don't have a problem with them going to Boca or Donner, where apparently police had also looked, but they were fine with Adventures with Purpose going and looking there. But they kept telling them they did not need to look at Prosser. But Adventures with Purpose, their motto is, if we didn't clear it, it hasn't been cleared. So they go back to their method that works for them. That was the location of the last ping. So we're going to search there, and 35 minutes after getting in the water, they find her car. Now, there's a lot of people that think the car wasn't there the whole time, that Kiely did not go in the water the night of the party. And allegedly, there are two people besides roadside Nick, that claim to have seen Kiely in the Boca area on Saturday. So I don't know if it was Kiely or just somebody that looked like Kiely, but there were 3 alleged sightings. And then if you go back, when they said somebody might know where she went after the party, was it out there that she was planning to go from the party to Boca? I don't know. But anyway, people think that maybe the car was not there from the night of the party, that it was placed there later. And a lot of people have said, yeah, but with all that searching going on out there, how would that be possible? Well, my first thought was, as dark as it is out there, you wait till middle of the night and go out there and do it. Or when the search got scaled back, in that gap in between, the search gets scaled back and Adventures with Purpose showing up, could it have been placed there then? But that opens up a whole new rabbit hole. If you think it was placed there later, then you've got to wonder, where was the car for that time? Where was Kiely? Was she alive until whatever date they put her in the water? And if not, where were they keeping her? Because you remember, it was 2 weeks from the party when she was found. And not to be gross, but decomp happens. Decomp produces an odor. So I'm guessing a lot can be told from the condition of her body being found in the water, even with the bloating and everything that would happen. Maybe they can come up with a kind of a estimated time of death. I don't know. But like I said, if it wasn't placed there, if it didn't go in the night of the party, where was the car? Where was Kiely? And how much longer was she alive? You kind of have to go down that rabbit hole, and I haven't done that yet. So, more to think about, right? Okay, and then we've got, Sammy claims at 12:36 a.m. she called me, and this is the last call anybody had with her. We said, love you, good night, get home safe. And that's the last thing we heard of her, Samantha said on Monday. But then the sheriff's office said on Monday, the department could not confirm whether Samantha was the last person to speak to Kiely, but said that shortly after midnight, her phone was turned off. And the police have never come out regarding Sammy's 12:36 phone call after the phone was turned off at 12:33. So we still don't have confirmation on that whole situation. And then Sammy, in interviews, is giving her theory, I guess, on why the kids won't talk. She says, it's also hard because there are so many teenagers. What are their relationships like with their parents? That can define a lot of what they're going to say. Are they used to hiding everything? They're afraid of the consequences, or how they're going to be viewed, how their parents are going to react. But at this point, it's like, who cares? We need to find her. I'm kind of thinking, because, I've always thought that the teen-to-teen meetup thing was more of a hush meeting, like, what did you see? Don't tell anybody. Get rid of your pictures. That kind of thing. Kind of a intimidation thing, because I've had people message me that went to school with Sammy, and they say that she's very manipulative and she really thinks a lot about what people think of her and things like that. She's kind of the queen of everything, right? So, afraid of the consequences or how they're going to be viewed. Does she really mean by their parents, or does she mean they're afraid of the consequences from her and how she will make them be viewed? I don't know. It's just a thought. And here she said, I think a lot of them were scared to talk. They were engaging in illegal activity in the woods. It's like this Lord of the Flies space where they can just be. I don't know if Sammy ever read Lord of the Flies, but that's not like a situation where I feel like I could go and just be. Um, Sorry, I have a little friend down here. Hey, Pablo, come here. You want to be on here for a little bit? Okay. This is Pablo. He's the terrorist from the blooper video. Thanks, buddy. He's my son who is stationed in California. That's his dog, and I get to keep him until he gets back to Oklahoma. So, a couple more years. Lucky me. So, yeah, like I said, these are Sammy's theories of why the kids aren't talking. I feel like they were probably, hey, quit, more worried about consequences from Sammy and incurring Sammy's wrath. I mean, yeah, they could have been afraid of their parents, especially if their parents didn't know they were at this party. But, I mean, when somebody dies, that should just all go out the window. So, the sheriff's office said the sheriff's office is also investigating online reports that there were older men at the party who might have been handing out drugs. And Sammy said, after speaking exclusively to the Sun, Smith revealed that a lot of sketchy older guys showed up to the party and ended up making things weird for the teens who wanted to party among themselves. So, if you remember, as we went through how many different versions of this Sammy gave us, you know, she didn't think anything of it. Yeah, there were older people there, but it wasn't a big deal. She was scared at one point. Sketchy older guys, she knew they were there. She didn't know they were there till later, you know, all this. And then as far as like they're showing up and making things weird for the teens who wanted to party among themselves. Well, if you send out an invite on social media, you're bound to get a little bit of everybody showing up at your party. Just for future reference, when you plan a party, Sammy, you might want to rethink about how you invite people. Maybe make it like a private invite. All right, so now we're going to start getting into some of her famous All-American Dream Chasers interview. Somebody had typed this out. It's kind of a transcript, I guess, if you will. Smith was one of the last people to speak to Kiely on the night she went missing and told the U.S. Sun that there were sketchy older guys at the party. The last recorded sighting of her was 12:40 a.m. I was the last person to speak to her at 12:36 a.m. and when she asked me if I still needed a ride home, Smith said. So, here she says the last recorded sighting of her was at 12:40 a.m. How Sammy knows that when she wasn't at the party is anybody's guess. But Elsa, Sammy's friend, she came out initially and said that she was at the party and she saw Kiely around midnight. And I was like, okay, finally we have somebody else saying they saw Kiely at this damn party, because really all we had was Sammy saying that she was at the party and then, you know, Mags, who got dropped off by Kiely. But mainly, you know, our timeline was just heavily built around Sammy's statements, and then Elsa comes along and she's like, yeah, I saw her at 12 a.m. and I was like, okay, cool. But then I started digging into it. Elsa's friends with Sammy. She's not friends with Kiely. So I'm like, okay, she's just backing up Sammy because she's her friend. And maybe she saw Kiely and maybe she didn't. Then this updated timeline comes out. So if we go through this, at 12:33 a.m., Kiely's phone is turned off. 12:36 a.m., Sammy receives a call from Kiely asking Sammy if she needs a ride home. Sammy is in someone else's car at this time, pretty much on 89 with my ride, on her way home. Sammy states when she called me, she was not in a car. I could hear the party and people, many people, talking in the background. 12:40 a.m., two boys, high school juniors, started yelling at each other and were about to fight but didn't. One walked away and the other one blocked off the main road out with his vehicle and started playing music. No one could have left the main way after that. This is the video from the news we see of the boys screaming and people standing around. 12:50 a.m. Elsa begins walking to her friend's car all the way back at the pavement road. They walked to the Y intersection, left out right to water, and turned left. Elsa pulls away from the party. Elsa said that when she was walking to her friend's car, that's when she saw Kiely fall in the hole. They helped her out and asked her, did she need a ride? And Kiely was like, no, I'm good. I've got a ride. And then Elsa and her friend left. So if that's true, if that's when Elsa saw Kiely, that's 12:50, not midnight. And then it says the last known sighting of her was at 12:40, so I don't know where that came from. But if Elsa's falling in a hole theory is right about Kiely, because she was so drunk she couldn't walk or talk and she fell in a hole and Elsa was worried about her getting home, that was much later than midnight. So again, things don't add up. Alright, so in that interview it said, Sammy, this is all Sammy talking here. It just blew up. It was starting to get to the point where I was getting overwhelmed, and I'm a very social person. I've been to a lot of these parties. I've never been overwhelmed. I've actually been underwhelmed. So, which, it's such a weird thing to say. I've actually been underwhelmed. Like, your party doesn't impress me. But this one, she's overwhelmed because of all the people. Even though she's very social, the amount of people was overwhelming. So again, this narrative of it was huge. I mean, if Sammy's overwhelmed, it's got to be bad, right? And then she said there were people from what we think Sacramento, San Francisco. I remember talking to somebody who was from San Francisco, Reno, Folsom, areas that were just way out of reach from it. And it was really overwhelming and weird to see, but I really didn't think much of it. I just thought kids were from around here. They have vacation homes up here. They're just coming to party because why not? I don't really have much to say about that one. It's overwhelming and it's weird, but whatever. Trust your gut, girls. Trust your gut. So then Kiely and I were going around taking shots and just drinking. Oh, sorry. They have a typo. We were trading drinks with each other. We were sharing drinks with each other. Again, she really wants us to know that she was drinking the same thing as Kiely, that they were sharing everything. And I feel like this is because when toxicology comes back, if they find drugs in Kiely's system to the point that it looks like an OD or, she was roofied or whatever, which I still feel like she was slipped something. But if Sammy can be like, no, I was drinking the same thing and I was fine, so there's no way that somebody could have given her something because I drank everything that she drank. And we know that's bullshit because we know in different interviews, 1 minute Sammy's with her the entire party, the other time they're just kind of like bumping into each other. So there's no way she could possibly know that she had everything that Kiely had. And like I have said in previous videos, They're going around taking shots. Have you ever met anybody that shared a shot with somebody? Here, I'll drink half a shot and you drink half a shot. I haven't. Maybe it is a thing. I don't know, but I've never seen it. And I'm around military people and they drink a lot. Okay. She goes on to say, and we're talking about just random stuff. It's kind of hard to remember. We were talking about her texting her mom and her charging her phone and just about the party in general. And then we had a few other friends in the car and then we all decided to go back to the party. So she knew about her texting her mom. The mom said that she received a text from her daughter asking if her curfew could be extended to 12:30. She got that text at 11:30. So that means that Sammy and crew are in Kiely's car charging their phones around 11:30, I guess, when Kiely texted her mom. Even though at one point she said they were in the car, it was like 11. She says, then we were around there for a bit. I had asked her for a ride home when we were in the car because my ride was leaving and I wanted to stay at the party longer. You know, the overwhelming party. Of course she doesn't want to leave. She wants to stay longer, right? And so then we ended up splitting up in the party because I wanted to go find another ride when we got back into the party after leaving the car. That, to me, is the one statement that will not leave my head. You made arrangements to get a ride and then immediately split up at the party because you needed to go find another ride. Make that make sense to me. So, in the interview, if you watch it, and I would have recorded it and played it on here for y'all, but I refuse to give Tony Dodge any more views after everything that I've heard come out of this man's mouth. So, if you want to go watch it, it's on All American Dream Chasers. But when she makes this convoluted statement of, I made arrangements to get a ride from her, and then I went immediately into the party and split off from her to go find myself a ride home. You can tell that she knows she messed up. You can tell that she knows, like, what I said just made absolutely no sense. And so she follows that with, so that we could, sorry, my mind is, and then just goes on to something else. So we ended up splitting up in the party because I wanted to go find another ride when we got back into the party after leaving the car. Make that make sense. So that we could, so that you could, what? So that you could, what, Sammy? And then she's like, she was not being driven home and she was not driving. At the end of the party, when I saw her, she was supposed to be giving me a ride home because I'd asked her because I wanted to stay later. I then realized later in the party that I believe she was drunk, and I knew she was drunk, so I did not want her to be driving me home because, you know, I know about drunk drivers and all that. So now, this is the same interview, y'all. Now she's saying at the end of the party when she saw her, that's when she realized, oh, she's drunk, and she didn't want to get a ride with her. Now, earlier she said when they were charging their phones, which she said 11, the mom got the text 11:30, so somewhere between 11 and 11:30, she made arrangements to get a ride with Kiely, immediately goes into the party to find another ride home because Kiely is too drunk. Now she's saying that she realized later in the party that she believed she was drunk and knew she was drunk and didn't want her to drive her home. What is it? When? What? Make it make sense, Sammy. Because, you know, I know about drunk drivers and all that. And then when she's talking about the fights, she says, yeah, there were friendly fights going on. Like, we had boxing gloves. It wasn't anybody that had any drama. They weren't enemies or anything, just friendly fights to keep entertainment going. This happens at a lot of our parties. We just do it to have fun. If anybody gets hurt, we have people on them. What, do you have like medics standing by? I seriously doubt it. Like if somebody gets seriously hurt, we have people on them. What does that even mean? And that's great entertainment, y'all. And then continuing about the friendly fights. Yeah, to see who goes home with the title. I will admit people end up getting in fights over who won, but not this time. Still think that's because nobody got in a fight over it this time because Sammy won, and nobody's going to question whether Sammy won or not. And then when we start talking about Jagger. No, there was no ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend was in Napa at the time. I think he lives in Napa. He actually drove up the next day, the second he heard she was missing. He's very close with her family and her. There was no anything. So there's Jagger's alibi getting built. And she does not currently have a boyfriend. She's rocking the single life like we used to say. She just wanted to be open and single and have fun as a kid. Rocking that single life. She says, I've been in charge, not in charge, taken on responsibility to get in touch with everyone at the party. Teen to teen meetups, interviewers 7 or 8, keep info in simple area. Moved locations in Tahoe, Truckee area, no cops, no parents, no pressure to get in trouble. Don't want media to spread photos. Kids will tell kids who they drank with. Don't want media to spread photos. And you don't want them kids to spread photos, do you? They're moving locations and no cops, no parents, no pressure to get in trouble. I don't know. Kids will tell kids who they drank with. Yeah, I guess, but I just don't feel like that's the information Sammy was looking for. But it sounded good, right? And then this I love because Autumn Fragrance swears, no, Sammy was not drunk. To be fully honest, I was inebriated at the time, so I wasn't totally attentive of who was around us. So Sammy, right there in an interview, said, I was inebriated at the time. Not attentive to who was around us. And we were going around together. We were in a lot of different huge groups of people. We had never met because her and I are similar in the sense that we're both very social. We'll talk to anybody that we meet. We love meeting people, so that's what we were doing and everything. So these weird ass people that were older and sketchy and overwhelming and scaring you, you're just like, you and Kiely are just going around group to group meeting them because why not? And also, we were seen like in these groups of people, like so many people saw us at the party. We were definitely together at the party because all these people saw us at the party. Why do you need us to know that? There's hundreds of videos. We have videos of people taking videos. We have hundreds of photos. Where are they? There's no evidence of hundreds of videos or videos of people taking videos or hundreds of photos. We've seen like 4. And the cops were like, we need your videos. We need your pictures. So, I don't know. We're looking at an app called Be Real where you can post a picture, 1 a day. Notification will pop up. You have 2 minutes. A lot of people waited to post their Be Reals until they were at the party. Okay, I saw one Be Real picture, and that was the one where everybody was like, is this Kiely in the picture? Where it looked like she had been beaten up or passed out or whatever. And they were looking at Snap memories, IG posts, everything. And I guess they didn't come up with anything. Which is so unusual. My biggest concern is somebody knew she was drunk and offered to give her a ride home and they didn't. She could be across the world by now. I have a feeling she's still alive and she's still fighting. There's somebody else involved, not confirmed. There has to be somebody else involved. So again, we're going to create distance. She could be across the world by now. Somebody must have offered her a ride home, but they didn't take her home. I wonder who that could be. She could be across the world by now. She's still alive and she's still fighting. Was she? There's somebody else involved. There has to be somebody else involved. Because it can't be just Saint Sammy. There has to be somebody else involved. And if there is, I bet Sammy knows who was involved. So I figured she would be staying there or she would find a ride home because she's a smart girl. Smart enough to know just she's smart. And so then I found her as I was leaving the party. I was making sure to find her to tell her that I had another ride home and that I loved her and I wanted to say bye and for her to have fun at the party. She made an effort to find Kiely in that mass of people and tell her that she had another ride home, and that was at 12:25, as we all know, because then 11 minutes later Kiely had completely forgotten that conversation and apparently called Sammy while Sammy was being driven home to see if she needed a ride. And then when I left the party, we were pretty much on 89 with my ride, and she called me as I was in the car in the passenger seat. Now, tell me, when you're talking about, like, getting a ride with somebody, like, let's say me and my husband are going to Oklahoma City and he's driving, I don't say, like, so we were going to Oklahoma City and I was in the passenger seat. Do you specify that you were in the passenger seat? Unless there's something about the story that you really need to know that you were in the passenger seat. Does it matter if you were in the passenger seat or if you were in the back seat? I don't know. Another weird phrasing that sticks out to me. And she was like, hey, where are you? Do you still need a ride home? 11 minutes later, she completely forgot. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm in the car right now. I'm getting driven home right now. But Kiely did not have a set ride home, and I was under the impression that she would either sleep there or find another ride home. So, problems I have with a lot of this is Sammy's like, I know about drunk drivers and all that. She didn't want to ride with Kiely because Kiely was too drunk. She found herself another ride. So did it never occur to her to make sure that Kiely did in fact have another ride home before she left her there that drunk? Did it occur to her to offer her a ride with who she was getting a ride with when she got this alleged phone call from Kiely? Did it not register like, hey, I just told you I was leaving? Did it not register to her to be like, hey, girl, are you okay? Like, do you need us to come back and get you? Or do you have a ride? Are you staying the night? Like, what are you doing? No, none of that. It was not known that anyone was going to give her a ride home. When she called me, I could hear the party and many people talking in the background. So you mean to tell me that these people were right there, like close enough you could hear the party and all these people talking in the background? None of them saw her. None of them talked to her. You were it. You were the last one. Even though it sounds like maybe Elsa was the last one. I don't know. It is what it is. And then this. I just want to drink a boba with her again and laugh and tell a story. And when I see her, I'm going to absolutely tackle her to the ground, but I'm going to give her the most love that she's ever felt. Her and this boba. I think that must have like really been a big memory when Kiely gave her that free boba tea. because she brought it up at the celebration of life. She brought it up in this interview that, you know, she just wants to drink a boba with her again. And I guess since Kiely is no longer with us and she can't have that boba with her, that she's just gonna like go out and do stuff like this instead. If my computer will cooperate. So here she is. It was a TikTok she has since took down. She was in a pool, hot tub, something, saying bye to her best friend named Zara. Before she goes to college, they were drinking, dancing, you know, just like she was on the beach. Somebody had asked me at the celebration of life, was that a tattoo on Sammy? Yes, apparently it is. It looks like a rose or some kind of flower. But she's obviously still really grieving the loss of her good friend Kiely. And if she can't have boba, she will have beer. So, since we're talking about Sammy and the All-American Dream Chaser interview and all of that, I'll touch on it. Because it's, I don't know, it's too much. All-American Dream Chaser did his interview with Sammy on August 11th. He has a check-in in Truckee on August 11th and August 9th. And that Zanime lady was in Truckee kayaking right where they found Kiely's car on August 11th. A lot of stuff happened on August 11th. And there is a lot of questions about why Sammy talked to Tony Dodge of All-American Dream Chasers when all these bigger creators and channels were also trying to get an interview with her on YouTube. Why him, of all people? I don't know why him. And stuff that has come out about him, I don't know. Y'all know I am an Upchurch music fan. I kind of went along with some of his theories until he got to Kiely doesn't exist, and then I was like, can't go down that road with you. Still a fan, can't follow you down that road. You can absolutely be a fan of somebody without agreeing with everything they say. I mean, I have relationships in my life. I don't always agree with everything that my kids say or my husband says. Like, it's a thing. You don't always have to agree. But Upchurch put out a video, and I put a little clip of it here because I just want to show you what this Tony Dodge guy is really like, and why I did not show Tony's interview with Sammy here, because like I said, I refuse to give this guy any more clicks or views. But you all are welcome to go there. You all are welcome to watch the video on your own. It's just my personal thing. I will not do it. So I'm going to show you the Upchurch video now. If you don't like Upchurch, that's fine. Like I said, we all are entitled to our opinions. You can like who you like, I can like who I like, and we can all still get along, right? So the only reason I'm showing this is to show what Upchurch caught about Tony Dodge. So here we go with that.
All hot and bothered. Let's see how they all act. They're all acting kind of fucking weird, aren't they? All these people getting drunk on YouTube, snitching on themselves, you know, telling us how they fell down a hill like, whom, whom. I've never fell down a hill like that. And while they're falling down the hill with their legs going, whom, whom, their charger comes out. There's a phone charger comes out, and they're like, fuck. Definitely not a car. No, she was tumbling on legs. It was plugged into a tree. Then after her really bizarre story on how she, fell down the hill on leg wheels,
stepped in the wrong direction. So I was like, oh.
She lets you know she definitely didn't find a car where the car has not been found yet. She didn't find one there.
But I did not find a car. I just wanted to show you how steep it was.
Darn, good thing you told us. All right. Lady who was at the crime scene for no reason, who tripped down a hill with legs that went wah, is not a suspect. So does anyone have any idea who's seen anything about a car driving into the water?
But I did not find a car.
This interview that you're watching right now of her going, I did not find the car. You do realize that video was made before the car was found. So the lady who was at the place where the car was found is telling you before the car was found that she did not find a car.
I did not find a car.
Gee, I wonder who was in charge of making sure nobody found the car that was dumped in the river where she was at. Must have been somebody pretty stupid.
I did not find a car.
All right, now let's talk about this fucking dweeb who had her on the channel for the first time anyone ever saw her.
Tony Dodge.
That's a good last name, because you is trying to dodge a lot of shit in the past 48 hours. All right, so let me fill you in on Tony and tell you how Tony fits into this situation. So on Tony Dodge's Facebook, on his GPS check-ins, guess what? He checked in somewhere on August 9th and August 11th. Do you know where that might be? Truckee. Where was Zanime during that time? Oh yeah, Truckee. So before we point out the obvious weird shit about this Tony Dodge character, let me just show you a little tiny clip on who the fuck this dude is.
I'm into pedophilia, man. Well, not pedophilia, but necrophilia. I'm into pedophilia, man.
Yeah, he just said he likes little kids and has a fetish for dead bodies. What is this whole case about? An underage girl who is dead. Not to mention, he's the first YouTube channel to have an interview of the lady who was just, there at the same fucking time as he was. So why this fucking freak weirdo who's watching everybody's kids on fucking YouTube is sitting here on a panel with the Zanime girl? Numbnuts pulls up his DM. Look what's in his DM.
That is apparently from another country, I believe. I don't know.
Do you see how long ago that DM was? 6 weeks ago. Like a week or two, week and a half before all this shit happened. Okay, well, let's just state the obvious about this DM real quick. One, it's fucking weird. Two, the female in this sentence is obviously unaware that this is gonna happen to them. Three, I'm gonna say it again, it was 6 fucking weeks ago. Four, who is the user that deleted the account? And 5, the dude in the panel yesterday who was fucking screaming and yelling like a goddamn idiot because you were extremely mad that I seen this DM for some reason. Everybody was in there saying, well, if you ain't got nothing to hide, Tony died, you fucking freak. Then click on it and show us you ain't got nothing to hide. What does he say? Oh, I don't have to. Then this fucking asshole is like, leave him alone. You can't even look at the DM even if you wanted to. Yes, the fuck you can, stupid. Let me show you. So, way back in the beginning when all this started, like the first 48 hours when I was like, yep, it was definitely his anime. And everyone's like, no, it's not, you're fucking crazy. Stop smoking crack. Oh, you do remember that? Yeah, me too. Well, at the time, remember the Ronnie Jones character was like, hey, look at me. I seen everything at the party with my own eyes. The same Ronnie Jones' anime is like, hey, leave him alone. He didn't do nothing. He's a regular guy. Well, guess what? I still have his DMs. And guess what? He deleted his channel too. So for the guy on Tony's panel and Zanime's panel the other night being like, leave Tony alone. Even if he did click on it, you can't see nothing.
It's a fucking deleted account. Even if he wanted to show the messages, he can't, bro. It's not there anymore. Yep, exactly. It's a deleted account by the user.
I'm about to show you that you can with Ronnie Jones on Instagram from fucking 4 weeks ago. So what was you saying, Guy and Tony and Xanime's panel? Was you saying that you can't see messages after someone deletes their shit?
Even if he wanted to show the messages, he can't, bro.
Is that what you said? Yeah, because you're fucking wrong. So before we move on with this freak show, I would like to let you know this. guy who's yelling, screaming, saying you can't fucking look at him because it's fucking deleted. I wasn't born fucking yesterday. I seen what's on your right arm. That 88 tattoo. Let me tell you something, asshole. Would you want to bet there's some people somewhere else that have that same tattoo that really ain't gonna fuck with you, taking up for some guy who says he likes to touch kids? Me and you both know that. Now, back to Tony Dodge and his fucking freak weirdo shit. I would also like to point out, guess what else happened on August 11th? No, not the fact that Tony's GPS on Facebook says he was in Truckee. No, not the fact that Zanime was getting all of her canoe shit ready to go canoe in Truckee over, a car for no reason. I'm talking about Sammy's interview that you had, Tony Dodge, on August 11th. That's a lot of August 11ths from people who are in the same exact place that don't know who each other are. Oh yeah, did I mention Tony's a locksmith? Oh yeah, did I mention we found 3 properties in his name? Did I mention one of the properties is a house that has a fuck ton of fucking smashed car shit in the backyard? Did I mention the other property's a big fucking lot full of trailers and cars and a fence to keep you the fuck out? Did I also mention it's across the street from a fucking elementary school? Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of fucking weirdos who have weirdo friends and have weirdo sex ring things and have a bunch of trailers and shit and cars with tags that don't mean nothing. So I'll leave you on this video. The other night, I guess they done been up all night, been fucking, taking stuff to stay awake because they're freaked out and scared the feds are gonna kick their door in for whatever's on their fucking computer. I guess these motherfuckers just forgot they was live and old dumb Tony answers the goddamn phone. I think we got a super chat. And listen what it said. After what is said, he clicks the fucking button to do intermission for his entire stream. Then some crack whore does a pot belly dance for us.
Yeah, we were having a lot of fun last night.
Yeah, apparently we're gonna go get fucking looked up and shit like it's really like we really have one.
But
Yeah.
I just want you to say hey, I just received your number through a mutual person. And, we have a porn production industry, and we were wondering if y'all would either come and pick the girls up for us, or would y'all rent a trailer out to where we can throw them in the back?
Yeah, let's get that party started. Omniac hour,
Yeah, and then she does the itchy, scratchy shuffle for goddamn 2 minutes, and I'm not watching it. But watch, I'm gonna fast forward. Watch when the stream comes back on. Look at all their faces. Yeah. These are the motherfuckers on YouTube late at night. These fucks.
Alright, so, like I said, not a fan of Tony Dodge. The stuff that he's supposedly joking about, to me, is just not topics that should be joked about. One last thing I wanted to touch on. I had a lot of people asking if I thought there was a connection between Kiely and Jeanette and Juan. If you don't know, Jeanette and Juan, they went missing within the same time period as Kiely. They had attended the car show that Kiely was originally going to attend with her parents. They were found, they had gone off the road and their car was found off of a steep, like a ravine. But I found this on Sleuthy Goosey had it up on Twitter, and I don't know that they're connected, but this is very interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. So it says Kiely Rodni, Jeanette Pantoja, and Juan Almanza Zavala all disappear within the same 24 hours, exactly 70 miles away from each other, all stopping, sharing their location with loved ones right before they tragically die. Approximately 30 minutes after they let their loved ones know that they are on their way home. Last ping of all 3 are provided to the Nevada County Sheriff's Department. The Nevada County Sheriff's Department leads the physical search for all 3 individuals. All 3 individuals are found at or in their vehicles in the location of their last ping. Zanime noted that she had video evidence of a beautiful Hispanic party at the campsite next to the location of the senior send-off party that ended in the death of a 16-year-old girl. Kiely was supposed to attend hot August nights in Reno, where Jeanette and Juan were coming home from. Kiely did not go, only mom and stepdad did. There were allegedly 3 sightings of Kiely on the 6th. That night, Jeanette and Juan disappear. And then she says, please tell me how the Nevada County Sheriff's Office and Prosser County Sheriff's Office came to the immediate conclusion that these tragedies are not related. I don't know that they're related, but it is very interesting. Very interesting. Especially about they stopped sharing their location right before they died. Like 30 minutes after they let their loved ones know that they're on their way home, then they can no longer be tracked. That Nevada County was in charge of the searches. Nevada County didn't find any of them, and then when they were found, it was right where the last pings were. I mean, it's all very interesting. I don't know if there's a connection, but it is definitely weird. Y'all can let me know what your thoughts are about that and just about everything that we went over today. It's about all I'm gonna do. I'm really starting to get tired. My head's starting to hurt again. And I have a football game to watch in a little bit where I get to watch my Cowboys more than likely lose again. So that'll be fun. At least my Sooners won yesterday, so that's something. Again, I would like to thank all of my new subscribers. Keep sending your friends my way. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. When I get to 1,000, I will start doing live streams where we can talk and interact in real time. I'm really looking forward to that because I love talking to you guys in the comments, but I think it'll be so much more fun to talk and interact with you in real time. Please like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it as much as you can. Giving it a thumbs up will help boost it and more people can see it, and hopefully subscribe. If you do subscribe, click the bell so you get all the notifications of when I upload or when I do eventually start going live. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me, even when I don't feel good. It's nice that you still put up with me. I appreciate it. I really do. Update. I have an appointment finally for my tooth. It's not for like a couple of weeks because I don't know, it's like they're constantly, we're gone for a week and then, we need this. And when like they needed records from before we moved here, I was in the St. Louis metro area and they needed records from them, and we thought that we had that taken care of, but apparently we didn't. And anyway, the update is that hopefully somewhere by the end of the month I will be getting my tooth fixed that I knocked out when I had a seizure. So yeah, but anyway, thank you all for stopping by and spending a part of your day with me while I struggle through this massive migraine. And as always, I will see you in the next one.